If you're familiar with underground hip-hop, especially funk, this type of cover is nothing new to you. This style can be found on bigger artists like one and only Freddie Dredd and Killswitch, but it's also a very common cover art style amongst plenty of smaller artists too, such as Salvo, Bumboi, Lil Kapow, and Foolish Animals. This type of cover art is more than just a trend. It's been a recognizable mark in the underground rap scene since at least 2020. I initially recognized this cover art as a consistent style across many different artists in the underground funk scene over a year ago. It piqued my interest, but I didn't bother looking further into it. After a year of seeing more and more cover art of the same style, and most recently now music YouTubers with profile pictures in that style, I decided to look further into it. After going through every artist in my Spotify playlist that I thought might have cover art in the same style, I came up with about 10 images. Using these to reverse image search, I was only finding more underground artists with similar cover art. I wasn't going to find the origin artwork by blindly searching, so I organized based on song release. I came up with So What by Killswitch, released August 5th, 2020. This would be the key piece in finding the origin. Johnssick is the earliest artist I could find making artwork with the signature paint style, eyes, and teeth. The first piece of his you can see leading towards the style we have today was posted on Instagram on January 27th, 2020. It's pretty far from what we have today, but the roots are clearly there. He really started to define the style later into the year with his post on July 6, 2020, leading into the cover art for So What. Johnssick has gone on to make many of the greatest cover art pieces for the underground scene, and for many of the ones he hasn't directly worked on, he left a lasting impact with his style as inspiration for others. It's likely that Johnssick was influenced by artist notmushu, as things such as the teeth are somewhat similar to what notmushu was making in early 2020. Judging by the portrait of notmushu Johnssick dropped on IG on July 6th, I think it's fair to say where some inspiration for the style came from. Notmushu could also be considered an origin point for the cover art we got today, due to his style being more well-defined early in 2020 than Johnssick, although it's not exactly the same feel. The only reason I would consider Johnssick as the origin artist and not notmushu is due to Johnssick being more prevalent across song cover art, since I can't seem to find many by notmushu, although his style is familiar to me from things like type beats. Cover art like Josiah's Full Effect was actually made by an artist with a similar style, Sync777. Sync777 has a similar art style to Johnssick in many ways, but also very distinct in his own ways. Sync777 and Johnssick actually collabed to bring the cover art of one and only's Thule Beam to life. Since that cover art collab, Johnssick's artwork has clearly influenced Sync777's style, as seen in pieces such as his one for Guts by Sempra, released less than 2 months after Thule Beam. Johnssick, notmushu, and Sync777 all contributed a lot to this specific underground cover art style, and each one could be considered an origin point in their own sense. Due to all of them leaning towards the style in late 2019 to early 2020, they not only built a foundation for the style in each of their own ways, but also likely were inspired by each other's work. Regardless of what may be considered the true origin, this style of cover art is an important defining part of the underground hip-hop scene. Not every cover art can be a masterpiece. Many in the underground funk scene are just anime imagery and or women, but the cover art with purpose behind it is where a large part of music culture is built, even if it isn't often recognized.